show you how to install the new snug straps onto your Easy Boots. These are compatible with the Easyboot Glove Backcountry as well as the Easyboot Trail. This is how they're going to come. They're going to come in this bag like this. You're going to get both of your straps, the buckle, as well as the feed-in and your screw set and your instructions. Set these out to the side here. You're also going to need these tools. You're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. You're going to need a leather hole punch. I find with any installation of screw sets, it's always nice to have a pair of needle nose pliers on hand just in case you need some extra grab. And then one thing that we don't have here today that we would also recommend is some Loctite to put onto your screw sets before you fasten them up onto your boot there. So we're just going to lay a couple things out. I like to separate the two sets out. So we're going to start by just opening up our backcountry boot. We're going to work with the backcountry today. We're going to get that upper open nice and wide. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make punches into our stitch boxes. These are the stitch boxes. You can see them here. There's one box here and one box here. We're working towards a 5mm hole punched into the upper here. It is a little tough to squeeze it through, so we like to start small. That'll make it a lot easier. So I'm going to start with the number 4. I'm going to go right into the middle on the stitch box here and give my first squeeze. You'll hear that pop, so that means we have the first layer of our hole just about in there. You can see that. And then I'm going to make my hole selection a little bigger. Line it up. Give it another squeeze. It does take some strength in your hands there. After I hear the pop, when I start doing the second sets of getting larger, I like to give it a little twist and even use the screwdriver to just help get any of the debris out so we have a nice clean hole. And then we're going to go up one more. And get one more in here. Again, just using the screwdriver, get any debris out. So the next step for us is going to be to take this T-nut and push it as far through that hole as you can. You can start with your fingers. I do like to use the needle nose to just get a little extra grab, pushing it through there, making sure we can see as much of the thread of the T-nut as possible so that when we go to put the screws in, we just have a good visual. So we've got that in. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the buckle. So the thing to take into consideration is that when you install these, this is going to make your boots left and right specific. We like for the buckle to be on the outside so that there's no rubbing or interference between from right to left. So whichever side you apply this buckle on, that is now going to be, so this would be a right boot because we're going to want the buckle to be on the outside. So once we get the T-nut in, we're going to take the screws here. We're going to put the washer over first, and then we're going to push the screw completely through the leather there and get as much of the threads through as possible. So then once we have that, we're going to line those two up, take our screwdriver, and get a grab. So the thickness of the leather can vary, and with that variance could make it may take a little more effort to get that first grab between the two screws. If you're starting here and you're finding that you're having trouble getting the grab, you can take it and place it flat down on a surface like this. I do have a small grab happening right now, and so then I'm still going to place it on a flat surface. I'm going to push down really hard and get it as tight as I can. You may see the washer spin a bit. Even though the washer is spinning on this side, don't assume that it doesn't mean that you're still getting some grab on the back. Once you get that first screw through, you can flip it over and you'll be able to see where your screw has come through. You want it to grab as many of those threads on the T-nut as possible. So you can kind of see where it is there. I'm going to put it down one more time, put a little extra pressure and give it another couple turns. You can see the washer is turning, but I'm also feeling like when I flip it over, we have a little more grab from our screw there. So that side has now been installed. As I mentioned before, the one step that we did not do was apply Loctite to the screw before we put it in. So that would be the step that you would do before you put this screw through the leather. Put a little Loctite on it, stick it through the leather and turn. So now we're going to do the other side. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start in our stitch box. We're going to make our leather hole punch a little smaller. We're going to line it up right in the center and use all of our muscles to get our first hole in. Again, using the screwdriver, this hole's a little small, but getting out any debris that we can. Crank it up, couple turns. It's the larger you get with the leather punch, the harder it becomes to, just the more pressure, I shouldn't say the harder, it becomes just more pressure that's needed. So you can take baby steps up. If you go jump up too big and you find you can't get it to go through, then just back off a little bit. Start with a little smaller. Now you can see I can get the screwdriver all the way through, get some of this debris out, and then go up to our largest punch, which is the 5mm. And make one more break through there. And again, pushing the screwdriver through. And as I said, it's just the nature of leather products that the thickness of the leather can vary. So as I said, when you are doing your application, just making sure that you know that you may have to add a little more pressure here and there if you have a really thick piece of leather to get the grab between the T-nut and the screw that you're installing. So now I'm going to push this T-nut through again. Again, I like to use the needle nose pliers to help feed the upper over the T-nut. It is not going to come completely through, but you want to be able to see the gold threads through the circle so that you can line your screw up and be sure that you've got the receiving end there making contact with the screw, so you're not just turning and not making any contact. And then again, we're gonna put the washer on, push this screw through, which I'm doing with one hand. It will be easier for you if you do it two-handed. This one you can see needs a little extra push. I'm even going to take the screwdriver and just twist it a little bit to get it all the way through that leather. And then I'm going to line it up with the T-nut there. So I'm holding on the back side. I'm really pushing on that T-nut in the back, and I'm pushing through the front. I've got the grab, so once I get the grab started, then I'm going to set it down and really push. You can see we've got a nice good grab. The screw is more than halfway through there on the catch. I'm going to place it down again, give it another couple of turns, and we're good to go. So we've got our snug strap installed. We're going to fasten up our boot here. And now you are good to go. You can go cantering through all the mud and sand and water that you want, and if your Velcro loses its sticky, you're all locked up. All right, so we're real quickly, another point in the installation of the snug strap that we want to go over is when we have a boot. This time we're working with the Easyboot Trail, the last installation we did on the glove backcountry. If we have a fit with our boot that doesn't allow us to completely fasten the Velcro snugly, where we only have a small amount of contact, first of all, the snug strap is really going to help with that, because rather than just having this little grab here be what is keeping this boot fastened, we're going to have a whole nother layer of protection on the back of the boot. So what you're going to want to make sure you do, if this is how your boot is fastening at the back, you're going to want to make sure that before you punch your holes that you are giving enough space for the strap to lead into the buckle. So what I would recommend doing is maybe take your strap and go to the second hole, say. You can also go to the first, and then take a minute to make sure that where you're going to go in your stitch boxes is going to allow them to meet up. On the trail, the stitch boxes are a little different. This is your stitch box here that you're going to use. It is very thick through there, so knowing that when you're using your leather hole punch, really starting small and working your way up so that you can make the hole the right size without tenderizing the palms of your hands there. And then on this side, there's also this stitch box here. You can see that on this side too. We've already indicated we want you to go through this stitch box here, and on this side we want you to use this section of the boot right here. So if you come all the way over here with your buckle or your strap, you're not going to make contact even if you have your boot fully fastened. So on the trail boot, we want to go here and we want to go here. So when we have a loose fit, we want to make sure that if we fasten one end on that side and one end on this side, that we're still going to be able to make contact, and as you can see, we're good to go. So just making sure that if you have a little wider opening at the back of your boot where your Velcro doesn't fasten fully, just making sure, especially on the backcountry where the stitch boxes come a little bit more forward, making sure that you're putting your straps where they are going to be able to make contact and actually buckle.